After being killed by a demon, a knight is reincarnated as an S-rank monster, the Behemoth, a creature so dangerous that it takes an entire army to defeat. However, he isn't thrilled about this new life, as he was once sworn to protect humanity. As he examines his reflection, he's shocked to find that he looks like a cat. Meanwhile, an elf girl named Arya is preparing to venture into a dungeon. As the cat looks around, he notices a slime approaching. With a single skill, he easily defeats it. However, he suddenly feels hungry, so he decides to eat the slime. To his surprise, the slime is actually very delicious. Just then, a screen appears in front of him, revealing that he has gained the slime skill called storage. He thinks the skill is very useful and stores the rest of the slime in it. Knowing that he can steal the skills of the monsters he consumes, he gets an idea. He then goes around and starts hunting and eating monsters to grow stronger. After some time, he encounters a treasure chest containing a shiny gem. However, the chest is a trap that teleports him onto the back of an S-rank monster, the Earth Dragon. He tries attacking the dragon using his skills, but its skin is too tough. When the dragon retaliates, he uses his iron body skill to block the attack, but he still takes damage. Impressed by his survival, the dragon lowers its guard as it tries to eat him. Taking advantage of the opportunity, he strikes the dragon's eye and manages to escape. Too bad for him, the damage he took from the dragon was too severe. As he lay down, thinking he was going to die, Arya saw him and decided to take him back to her home to treat his wounds. Several days have passed, and he is fully recovered. Since Arya saved his life, he vows to protect her for as long as he lives. When Arya heads back to the dungeon to complete another quest, he decides to secretly follow her, hoping nothing bad happens to her. While in the dungeon, she encounters 3 goblins. Unfazed, she activates her acceleration skill, moving at incredible speed and quickly dispatching all of them. This impresses the cat. Suddenly, another goblin appears and surprises her with a fireball. Luckily, the cat rushes in and pushes her out of the way. Not wanting to reveal his true identity, he avoids using his skills and instead scratches the goblin's face, sending it tumbling down the stairs. Arya is surprised to see the cat and is grateful for the rescue. Later, at the Adventurers Guild, Arya is approached by a man named Kazman. He asks if she has changed her mind about joining his party. As he tries to touch her, the cat leaps up, biting his hand and scratching his face in retaliation. Kazman, enraged, draws his sword, but he is quickly stopped by the guild receptionist, who reminds him that brandishing a weapon on guild grounds is strictly forbidden. Scared, Kazman quickly runs away. The guild receptionist then assures Arya to let him know if Kazman harasses her again. Grateful for the support, Arya happily tells him that the cat has now saved her twice and declares that it will officially be her pet and naming it Tama. After receiving the reward for her quest, Arya buys some alcohol and gets drunk. She then threatens Tama, saying that if he doesn't fix his attitude toward her, she won't let him join her in the bath. Hearing this, Tama immediately starts behaving and obediently listens to everything she says. While bathing, Arya tells Tama about her dream of becoming as strong as the person who once saved her life. She reveals that years ago, her hometown was attacked by demons. Just when all seemed lost, the legendary Sword Saint appeared and defeated all the demons. This event left a lasting impression on Arya, making her admire the Sword Saint and strive to become strong enough to protect others just as she was protected. The next day, Arya and Tama return to the Adventurers Guild to look for a new quest. While there, they encounter Kazman again. This time, he arrives with written orders from a baron, declaring that the cat who injured him previously must be put down. The announcement shocks everyone. Noticing Arya's deep affection for Tama, Kazman smirks and proposes a deal. If she doesn't want Tama to be harmed, they can settle the matter with a duel. If she wins, Tama will go free, but if she loses, she must agree to become his wife. Left with no other option, Arya reluctantly agrees. As the duel is about to begin, Kazman announces to the crowd that there's a significant gap in rank between him and Arya. To avoid tarnishing his reputation as a coward, he declares that Arya can have outside assistance. However, no one dares to step forward to oppose Kazman. Just then, Tama steps in front of Arya, ready to fight. Kazman laughs, mocking the idea that a mere kitten could pose any threat to him. Arya, on the other hand, feels a surge of happiness, touched by Tama's willingness to protect her. When the duel starts, Tama immediately charges at Kazman. but without using magic, Tama's attacks have no effect on him. Meanwhile, Arya uses her acceleration skill to increase her speed, but Kazman reads her every move effortlessly and counters her attacks easily. As Kazman is about to defeat Arya, Tama leaps in, activating his iron body skill to block the attack. The impact shatters Kazman's sword. Tama then uses his howling skill, sending Kazman flying into a nearby tree. The broken sword spins through the air and strikes Kazman, defeating him. The crowd is left in shock as they realize Tama can use magic. Believing his secret is now exposed and fearing they'll recognize him as a monster, Tama prepares for the worst. He doesn't regret his actions at all. Instead, he feels fulfilled knowing he protected his master. However, to his surprise, the crowd cheer instead. They assume Tama is a rare elemental cat and celebrate both his and Arya's victory. The next morning, after waking up, Tama wanted to make Arya happy by licking her ear, hoping she would enjoy it. What he didn't realize was that this made Arya adore him even more, so much so that he began to wonder if he might regret it. Later, Arya took Tama to meet her friend Vulcan, a blacksmith and C-rank adventurer. When Vulcan saw Tama, she was delighted and placed him on her chest. She then asked Arya why she had come. Smiling, Arya explained that she wanted Vulcan to make armor for Tama. Excited by the idea, Vulcan immediately began measuring him. A few days later, the armor was finished, and Arya was thrilled with the result. She then asked Vulcan if she could make her sword lighter, explaining that she just couldn't seem to get the hang of using it. Vulcan, however, said that making it lighter would make the blade too fragile. Instead, she suggested they go to a dungeon together, where she could watch Arya in action and come up with a better solution. In the dungeon, Tama and Arya are both amazed by Vulcan's strength as she effortlessly defeats all the goblins in her path. Shortly after, an orc appears, and Vulcan tells Arya that it's her turn to handle it. Arya uses her usual acceleration skill to fight the orc, but her movements are too predictable. As the monster strikes back, Tama jumps in to block the attack, creating an opening for Arya to finish it off. Despite her victory, Arya feels unsatisfied with the outcome. Vulcan approaches her and tells her that she knows why her moves are so easy to read. She then leads Arya to the next floor to face a group of monsters called Roper. Tama thinks it's a bad idea and imagines Arya getting caught by the creature. Suddenly, Arya charges at the monster as she usually does, but this time it's too fast for her to even get close. As the battle progresses, one of her swords is knocked out of her hand and the other is destroyed. At that moment, Vulcan tosses a pair of knives to Arya. With these new weapons, Arya moves faster than before and easily defeats all the monsters in the area. However, as one of the creatures falls, a strange liquid sprays from its body, splashing all over Arya. This makes Arya furious, and she continues attacking the monster even after it's already dead. Meanwhile, Tama seizes the opportunity to eat the monster in order to gain a new skill, despite the unpleasant taste. Later, Arya reveals that the reason she used longswords because she admired the sword saint. However, she now feels happy to have found a weapon that suits her better. Vulcan then takes Tama and Arya to a bath area inside the dungeon. She assures them that the place is safe because it contains a philosopher's stone, which prevents A-rank or lower monsters from approaching. Arya gazes at the stone and recalls the time the demon attacked her village. While bathing, Arya learns from Vulcan that her previous party broke up because two members fell in love and one of them got pregnant. Vulcan then looks at Arya and warns her to be cautious, explaining that elemental cats can crossbreed, and who knows what Tama might do to her when he grows bigger and is in heat. However, this doesn't scare Arya at all. Instead, it makes her happy. As they venture deeper, they encounter a minotaur. However, Arya has no trouble fighting it. She easily dodges all of its attacks, but her own strikes don't do much damage either. During the fight, the Minotaur swings its weapon around wildly, causing part of the roof above Vulcan to start collapsing. Just as the debris is about to hit her, Tama jumps in front of her and destroys it. This makes Vulcan blush. At the same time, Arya manages to stab the Minotaur in the chest, killing it. Later, at the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist is surprised and thrilled to learn that Arya has grown stronger and can now defeat a Minotaur on her own. After collecting their reward for the quest, Arya, Tama, and Vulcan celebrate together. During this, Vulcan tells Arya that she wants to form a party with her and Tama. Hearing this makes Arya very happy, and she eagerly agrees. Later that night, Tama was crushed by 4 melons. To calm himself down, he checked his stats and was surprised to see a notification informing him that he could now evolve into his second form. However, Tama chose not to evolve, since he doesn't want to look like a monster. Several days passed. One day, while walking around the city, Arya and Tama saw two men beating up a child on the street, and they immediately rushed to help. When the men noticed Tama, they immediately became terrified and fled, recalling that Tama was the one who had beaten Kazman half to death. Arya then asked the child where her parents were. From her reaction, Arya realized the child was an orphan and decided to take her to the church. Upon seeing Arya, all the children at the church lit up with joy and rushed to greet her, and then quickly becoming friends with the newcomer. It turned out that Arya had been helping bring orphaned children to the church and supporting it all along. Learning this, Tama admired her even more. Later that day, Arya was promoted to C-rank adventurer, which made her really happy. However, they soon noticed a crowd gathered around the quest board and asked the guild receptionist what was going on. He explained that the number of missing people had been increasing in the nearby town of Reynold, and demons were believed to be behind it. From children to adults, no one was safe. None of the missing had returned. Hearing this, Arya became angry and was determined to help. Just then, a man named Cedric came in and introduced himself as one of the aforementioned company. Apparently, he was very famous. Years ago, the Devil's Twilight fell upon this world, and a war was fought between man and demon known as Ragnarok. In the end, mankind won at the hands of a young boy now called the Grand Mage. Among the heroes who earned glory on that battlefield was Cedric. Cedric gladly accepts Arya and Vulcan's help. Arya then asks if their group is too small to face the threat of demons. Before he can answer, the guild receptionist reassures her, explaining that Cedric is more than capable. The next day, Tama notices that Arya is getting nervous, so he tries to calm her down. Arya feels grateful for this and gives him a kiss as a reward. On the way, Arya and Vulcan make new friends named Danny, Howard, Kenny, and Marietta. When Arya introduces Tama to them, they find him adorable and fight over him. Just then, a group of ogres appears, blocking their road. Danny steps out of the carriage alone and swiftly kills all the ogres. After arriving at the village chief greets them himself and explains the situation to them. Apparently, he sent a team to handle the demons in the ruins, but they haven't returned. And last night, another young girl went missing. The chief thinks they are the village's only hope now to save them. But noticing that they all seem tired, the chief tells them to rest for now, as he has already prepared food for them. While dining, Arya asks them why they decided to become knights. She learns that Kenny's goal is to earn money for her sick sister's medicine, and Marietta is saving to free her father from slavery. As for Danny and Howard, they are working to pay off their debts. Everyone has a clear motivation except Cedric, who joined the Knights simply because he enjoys killing and has nothing better to do. Later, Arya takes Tama to the girls' bath. While they are undressing in front of him, Vulcan suddenly feels embarrassed and doesn't want Tama to see. Tama, on the other hand, keeps telling himself to stay calm as he looks at their naked bodies. While bathing, the girls begin playfully comparing their big personalities. Meanwhile, at the man bath, Danny and Howard overheard them and want to take a peek, only to get knocked off by Tama. The next day, they go to the ruins searching for demons and encounter a large number of monsters. However, they don't have a hard time defeating them at all. As the monsters keep coming, Tama tries his new skill and kills all of them, impressing everyone and making Arya love him even more. Elsewhere, a demon spies on them and is surprised to see how strong Tama is, considering elemental cats are usually weak and not capable of such power. As they go deeper, the demon comes to greet them and introduces himself as Beryl Astaroth, a surviving remnant of the demons humans once wiped out. He then commands all of his trolls to attack them. As the battle is about to begin, he creates a wall of magic to separate them into groups: Arya and Vulcan, Tama, Danny, Howard, Keeney, and Marietta. As the trolls approach, Tama uses his skill to cut off one of the troll's arms, but it does nothing as the troll can regenerate its arm instantly. Feeling hopeless, Tama keeps running, trying to think of a way to defeat them. Meanwhile, Cedric is having the time of his life, killing the trolls in his path. As Tama runs around, he suddenly gets an idea and uses his flame skill to burn all the trolls alive, killing them. Seeing this, the demon is enraged, but he can't do anything about it, as his hands are full fighting Arya and Vulcan. As the fight goes on, Vulcan manages to distract him long enough for Arya to catch him off guard and stab him in the chest. But before he dies, the demon manages to cut Arya with his poison knife. Everyone becomes worried, and when Cedric examines the poison, he recognizes it as the toxin of a poison dragon. After taking her to the doctor tells them that she has only half a day to live, and the only way to save her is to neutralize the toxin using the eye of an earth dragon. Everyone is ready to help, but Cedric tells them it's not possible. They don't have time to search for a dragon and must think of another way. Tama then remembers the earth dragon he encountered and immediately flies off to the dungeon. He vows to himself that he will save Arya no matter what, even if it costs his life. When he arrives, Tama knows he is no match for the Earth Dragon, so he decides to evolve into his second form. As they fight, Tama realizes he can't win, so he pretends to die, causing the Earth Dragon to let down its guard. Seizing the moment, he strikes its face with his tail, killing it. When his body returns to normal, Tama feels confused but doesn't dwell on it, and quickly storing the dragon in his storage before taking it to Arya. Everyone is surprised by this but doesn't ask any questions. Instead, they just use the dragon's eye to create medicine for Arya. Meanwhile, Arya dreams about when her village was attacked by demons and how an elemental cat saved her. She wonders if this is why she loves cats so much. After several days, Arya fully recovers, bringing joy to everyone around her. Later, Tama checks his status and is shocked to see that his evolution skill has vanished, replaced by a new skill he gained from the Earth Dragon. Curious, he secretly heads to the dungeon alone to test it out. To his surprise, the new skill is incredibly powerful, allowing him to easily defeat a minotaur. Suddenly, a girl appears out of nowhere and asks why he has returned to his current form. Confused by her question, Tama quickly flees upon realizing she is after his Excalibur. The next day, Arya dresses Tama up and takes him on a picnic. As they enjoyed their time together, Arya suddenly remembered the promise she made to her mother to become a powerful warrior when she returned. However, she felt she still had a long way to go, as she was still weak and protected by others. Then, as if to lift her own spirits, she reminds herself that she was the one who defeated Beryl. Afterward, Arya goes to buy new armor from Vulcan, using the large reward she recently received for defeating the demon Beryl. Then, they head to the dungeon together to test out their new gear. As they walk, Tama suddenly activates his skill and buffs everyone in case something bad happen. As they venture deeper, they encounter a goblin. Arya then quickly draws her sword and defeats it with incredible speed, all without using any skills, surprising everyone. Just then, the girl appears again and spots Tama. She gets excited, still seeming to want his Excalibur. Fortunately, Arya stops her and reminds her that Tama is still a kitten, so he can't do that with her yet. Seeing Tama listen to Arya, the girl thinks Arya must be incredibly strong to be able to tame him. Arya then asks the girl's name and what she's doing here. The girl replies that she has no name and was born here. Arya assumes she has no memory and invites her to stay at her house for the time being. The girl then agrees, excited about the opportunity to stay with Tama. This surprises Tama, who thinks it's a bad idea. On the way back, Arya comes up with a name for the girl, Stella, meaning beautiful, which she seems to love and is very happy about. Later, while taking a bath, Stella seems to enjoy herself, but suddenly notices how Arya washes Tama's body, feeling jealous and wishing she could do the same. That night, while they were sleeping, Stella used her telepathic abilities to communicate with Tama, revealing that she was actually the Earth Dragon he had killed. She explained that after her death, her reincarnation skill activated and she was reborn. Hearing this, Tama feared that Stella might want revenge, but she reassured him, saying she had no desire to fight him. Instead, she confessed that she had fallen in love with him. Throughout her life as a dragon, she had never encountered anyone as strong as him. Just then, Arya woke up, startling Stella. She quickly reminded Stella that Tama was her pet and she wasn't going to give him up. Stella agreed for now, but reminded Tama that she was in love with him. If you come this far, please consider liking and subscribing for more videos like this. Thank